Hello everyone, my name is Melissa Burke and my partner is Chrissie Meyer. Today we're going to be talking about our mathematical model, base 10 blocks for EDUC 492. We're going to introduce the model, talk about the phases of CSA and how they apply to our model, and then describe our base 10 block activity. Base 10 blocks are a mathematical manipulative used to teach basic mathematical concepts. Below you can see physical representation of base 10 blocks. So there's a thousands cube, a hundreds flat, a tens rod, and a unit that represents ones. And then what kind of math is it used to teach? It's used to teach addition, subtraction, counting, place value, and number sense. How does it help students access math? It allows students to physically represent what they're learning so they can develop a deeper understanding of the meaning of each concept. For the components of CSA is represented as concrete, semi-concrete, which is also called representational, and abstract. You can see in the image a concrete example is the physical units that represent ones. The representational is a drawing of a cube that represents the ones, and abstract is a written problem. Concrete is an actual hands-on experience with the model or a virtual manipulative. So, for example, to represent the number 33, students would display 3 rods that represent the tens place and 3 units that represents the ones place. For 5th grade, one of the standards is place value decimals. So again, to represent the number 14.2, students will represent the tens place using a rod. And then students would use 4 units to represent the ones place, and then put the decimal, and then for the tens place, put 2 units as well. For 2nd grade, place value comparing 2 3-digit numbers for less than or greater than or equal to. For 122 is less than 150, students can use a virtual manipulative to represent both these numbers and to indicate if it's less than or equal to or greater than.
So now we have the semi-concrete phase. This is where students are creating their own visual representation of what they did in the concrete phase. So before, when students were using either physical base 10 blocks or virtual base 10 blocks due to distance learning, now students are going to create some sort of representation of base 10 blocks. So usually it's some sort of drawing. Students who want to represent the hundreds usually draw a square. For the tens, they draw lines like in the picture, and for ones, they usually draw dots. So in this example, let's look at the previous example, understanding the number 33. So if the teacher wants students to understand 33 in regards to the tens and the ones place, then students might draw 3 lines to represent 3 tens and 3 dots to represent 3 ones, which is the number 33. So for kindergarten, let's say they have to compose numbers from 11 to 19, and let's say the teacher chooses 17. So what students will do in the semi-concrete stage is that what they're going to do is draw 1 line representing 1 tens and drawing 7 dots to represent 7 ones, and usually they'll write like a number sentence like 1 tens plus 7 ones equals 17. In 3rd grade, students need to round whole numbers to the nearest 10 or 100. So let's say students have the number 469 and they need to round this number to the nearest tens. Well, first they're going to draw this number using base 10 blocks. So 4 hundreds is represented by 4 squares, 6 tens is represented by 6 lines, and 9 ones is represented by 9 dots. they'll understand that 6 is in the tens place, so you're looking at the lines, and we have to look at the number to the right to know if we round up or round down. Since it's a 9, now we know we have to round up, so it would be rounded to 470. Lastly, we have the abstract phase. This is kind of the holy grail. This is where teachers want their students to end up. They want their students to transition from the use of representation to using actual equations and numbers. So the first two stages are kind of like stepping stones into this main idea. So using the same type of question, being able to represent 33, in the abstract phase, instead of either using physical base 10 blocks or drawing base 10 blocks, they're going to write an equation or a number sentence like 30 plus 3 is 33, understanding that 3 tens and 3 ones equals 33. In 4th grade, if they have to round multi-digit whole numbers to any place, let's say they have to round 4,875 to the nearest tens, at the concrete phase, they need to understand first, where's the tens place? What number is showing that? So in this case, it's the 7. Then they have to understand, well, if we look to the number right of the 7, since it's 5 or greater, you need to round up. So you would round it to 4,880. In 1st grade, you need to fluently add and subtract within 20. So understanding that there's 1 ones in 11 and 5 ones in 5, which equals 6 ones. There's 1 tens in 11 and there's 0 tens in 5, which equals 1 tens. 1 tens and 6 ones is 16. And the same thing goes for subtracting. 18 minus 11 equals 7. So now we have our base 10 block activity. This is place value mystery numbers, and you guys are all going to pretend you're 1st grade. Before we begin the activity, the standard that we're addressing is understand that the 2 digits of a 2-digit number represent the amounts of tens and ones. So now you guys are going to pretend, go back in time when you were 1st grade. Okay, 1st graders, so we've been talking about tens and ones and how we can use base 10 blocks to show us how to make 2-digit numbers. So we're going to do an activity to see how much you know about 2-digit numbers using tens and ones. Let's read our I can statement. It says, I can use what I know about tens and ones to find a 2-digit mystery number using base 10 blocks. So here we have a direction sheet, and this is going to be the same on your Google slide where your activity is going to be. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to click on the yellow here word and choose a question to answer. So you're going to go on a Google Slides, it says place value mystery numbers, and on there it has this exact direction sheet. It has an example that we did as a teacher example, and it has another picture to show you base 10 blocks. You're going to pick one question. Now there's 4 types of questions. The first 2 are a little easier, so if you're still a little confused about place value, you may want to choose one of those. And then if you think you're a rock star and you know everything to know about place value, then you're going to choose one of the last 2 questions. Those are a little challenging, but make sure you're only choosing one question. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to read the question and read it carefully. So here's an example. It's not the same one in the Google slide, but this is similar. It says, I have 10 blocks. Some are rods and some are units. Their value is between 20 and 30. What number am I? So what you're going to do is you are going to look at all of the things it says in the kind of like word problem and try to figure out what the number is. You have to know what tens are and ones are, which we went over, and you have to know what rods and units mean. Now what you're going to do is then you're going to click on this yellow here word, and you're going to use virtual base 10 blocks since we are teaching and your guys are learning virtually, and I'll show you that in a second. You're going to try to figure out what the number is using the base 10 blocks, and then you're going to save your base 10 blocks by clicking on this button on the website, which is share, and then on this button which says save image to save your image to your computer. Then you're going to drag it on the place value mat here. If you need help, your parents can help you, and we can also try to help you. And then lastly, the picture is not the only thing to the activity. You need to finish answering the questions. So it says how many tens, you're going to write a number here, how many ones, you're going to write a number here, and then you're going to write the mystery number. And remember that since we're talking about 2-digit numbers, that means there's 2 numbers, okay? So now let's look at the slide you're going to be working on. So here is your place value mystery numbers slide. Here's the directions page. It looks exactly the same. Here's a picture of base 10 blocks. And then here is our teacher example. So if you need help and you're not really sure where to start, this is going to help you. And then here is where all the questions start. So you're going to pick one, you're going to put your name on it, put the picture there, and it says place your image here, and they're going to fill these out, okay? And then you are going to go here to this is the place values website. So let's say you're looking around, here are the 10s, here are the 1s. You're not going to need the 100s for this activity. So let's say you think the number is 22 in your problem. You're going to click here, it says share, and you're going to click here, and it's going to save your image. If you just want to copy it, you can do that. And if all of this fails and you're not sure, just click here. It says copy link, and then you can put the link in there. But we really want to see the picture, okay? So that's what that is, okay? And then here, going back to our credential master student selves, here are our references. And then here is the end of our presentation. So we really hope that you learned more about base 10 blocks, how to use them in the different stages, and how to use them with different grades. And we hope that you like our activity that we prepared for you. Thank you.